again, friends. Welcome into Gamecock Central Radio. Emerson Phillips joined by Scott Hood to talk Gamecock baseball. Gamecock baseball opening the 2016 season with a 3-game sweep of Albany at Founders Park this past weekend. Scott, good morning. Glad to have you with us. How you doing, man?
Glad to be here, Emerson.
All right, so we got a 10-1 Gamecock win on Friday for the season opener, 6-2 South Carolina over Albany on Saturday, and then 8-1 Gamecocks over the Great Danes on Sunday. Scott, tell us about the series overall. You know, I know there was concern about the Gamecock pitching staff. Some injuries have left the Gamecocks with a bit of a shortage of left-handed pitching. So Chad Holbrook started 3 right-handers this weekend.
Yeah, I think overall, I thought it was a good start for the Gamecocks. I think if you listen to Chad Holbrook's post-game press conference on Sunday, he mentioned multiple times that he thought he was pleased with the way the team played. But he also added that he reminded his team that they are capable of playing a lot better, and I think they are. I think there's enough on the tape to provide Holbrook and his staff with some teaching moments from the series. As obviously, the competition is going to get a lot stiffer as we go along here. I think even the two teams coming in this midweek are probably better teams than Albany, and then you got a Penn State team coming in this weekend, which is obviously a Big Ten team. And anyone who follows college baseball knows that Big Ten baseball has definitely improved over the last 10 years or so. So these teams upcoming on the schedule are going to be a lot better. So obviously, it was a good start. It was 3 wins. The Gamecocks did what they had to do, but now they're going to play a lot better going forward.
All right, 2 midweek games this week. Tuesday against App State and a 4 o'clock start at Founders Park. Wednesday against Winthrop, also on a 4 o'clock start at Founders Park. And then Penn State comes to town for a 3-game weekend set. Scott, any idea who the midweek starting pitchers might be for App State and Winthrop? And will the starting rotation be the same for Penn State this weekend with Clark Schmidt on Friday, Braden Webb on Saturday, and Taylor Widener on Sunday?
Yeah, I think coming off 3 wins, I think Chad Holbrook at this point has no reason to change the weekend rotation. I thought all 3 of those pitchers pitched well. In fact, overall, I'd say the pitching staff did very well. I was very impressed with the way the bullpen pitched. They did not give up a single run to Albany this past weekend. They used about 10, 11 different pitchers out of the bullpen. So one takeaway that I got from the Albany series was that the initial impression is that the bullpen depth is going to be a lot better this year than it was last year. I think it looks to me like there are probably more pitchers on the staff that Jerry Myers and Chad Holbrook are going to trust to put out there on the mound on a daily basis. Certainly, as we go forward and they begin the SEC play here in about 3-4 weeks, we'll definitely find out who they trust, who they don't trust. But right now, it looks like there are a bunch of guys out there who are pitching well enough to earn a shot once conference play begins. As for the pitchers, it looks like freshman Adam Hill is going to start tonight's game against Appalachian State. He's a freshman from Anderson. I know he's a very highly regarded pitcher. He was drafted last June. So he was certainly one of the best pitchers in the state last year. And I know Chad Holbrook talked a little bit about after the game on Sunday. He's very excited to see Adam pitch, and Adam certainly has the potential to be a major contributor on the staff going forward. He's here for 3 years, so we'll see how he does on Tuesday.
Gamecock Central Radio, Emerson Phillips and Scott Hood here talking Gamecock baseball. In the Albany series this past weekend, the Gamecock bullpen worked 11 innings and gave up 0 earned runs, struck out 13 batters. So the bullpen looked good for the opening weekend of the season. Scott, let's talk about the lineup a little bit and some of the offensive production. You know, the Gamecocks scored a bunch of runs this weekend. Marcus Mooney batted leadoff for the first 2 games and then got moved to the 9-hole for the 3rd game. And it was John Jones, the sophomore JUCO transfer out of Orlando, 6 of 10 in the series with 9 runs knocked in. Talk about Jones a little bit and the lineup overall, Scott.
Yeah, and besides the performance of the bullpen, another aspect that I was impressed with was the performance of the 2 catchers. I thought John Jones and Chris Collin were solid behind the plate defensively, and as you mentioned, John Jones did very well offensively. So it looks to me initially that there's been a serious upgrade at the catcher position. If you go back and look at the stats from last year, there's no question that Logan Koch and Hunter Taylor both struggled offensively last year, and I think Chad Holbrook was looking for a major upgrade there, which is why he brought in Jones and Cullen. And right now, it looks like both those players have given that position a major boost. Chris Cullen is very good defensively for a freshman. Very, as Holbrook mentioned on Sunday, he plays beyond his years. He's far more mature than most typical 18-year-old baseball players. His baseball acumen is off the charts for a kid his age, and that's one reason why he does so well. So I think going forward, I think the combination of Jones and Cullen look to be the tandem there behind the plate. Now, where does that leave Hunter Taylor? I'm not sure where the emergence of Jones and Cullen are going to leave Hunter Taylor, who obviously he served mostly the backup role last year before he started the last few weeks of the 2015 season. So, but at this point, I think Taylor could be the odd man out. I know Holbrook mentioned over the weekend that he wanted to get Hunter Taylor some playing time, and maybe these two midweek games might be the opportunity. But it looks to me like Jones and Cullen are going to be the two guys going forward. So, so I think if you're a Gamecock fan, you're going to be pleased with the performance of the two catchers. Now, offensively, again, obviously the Gamecocks struggled mightily last year at the plate. It was one of the worst offensive years. I've covered the team now for 15 years. Certainly one of the worst years I've seen in a long, long time. But I thought I saw some pop out of some of the bats that I think are certainly encouraging going forward. But again, when the quality of the pitching improves, we'll see how the Gamecocks do. So especially certainly with the Clemson series in a couple of weeks, that'll be a major test, and we'll really get a major sign from that series how good the bats truly are. So again, a good start. I think Chad Holbrook will take it for the opening weekend, but obviously, again, a lot of room for improvement.
John Jones caught the first game, was actually relieved late in the game by Chris Cullen. Jones had a bases-clearing double in his first game as a Gamecock on Friday in that win over Albany. And then Chris Cullen caught Game 2 of the series, the Saturday game, and Cullen started behind the plate in Game 3 as well. So Chad Holbrook has got some options behind the plate, and the Gamecocks appear to be very strong at the catcher position. So a couple of other thoughts on the lineup and on the offense this weekend. Scott, Alex Destino batted third. We talked about Mooney batting leadoff the first two games, but then moved to the 9-hole for the third game. And Dom Thompson-Williams, a junior out of Sioux City, Iowa, went 3 for 4 with his first career home run in Game 1 on Friday. So all in all, 24 runs in 3 games and just 4 runs allowed. Like you said, solid series to start the year overall, although the competition we know will get much tougher as the season goes on.
No, the competition will get tougher as the season goes on. In fact, you can certainly make the argument that both these teams playing at coming into Founders Park during the week here, Appalachian State and Winthrop are probably both better teams than the Albany team that the Gamecocks faced over the weekend. And I mentioned about Penn State, and obviously now in about 10 days we're all going to be talking about the Clemson series. We all know how good Clemson is and AC baseball is. So, and before you know it, the SC schedule is going to get underway. So. It's going to be here before we know it, and I think and honestly they got to upgrade their performance here if they want us to compete at that level. So, but again, I think the initial signs were positive, and that's the main takeaway you take from the Albany series. It was a good start. The Gamecocks did what they had to do. They won 3 games. They performed solid in most departments. Can't think of one area on the team that you point at and say, they didn't perform up to the level, or they fell far short of expectations. The hitting was good, the starting pitching was solid. All three starting pitchers were on pitch counts, around 75, 80 pitches, which is why all 3 of them lasted 5-6 innings before they turned to the bullpen. The defense was solid. I thought the infield defense was as good over a 3-game period as I can recall in a long time. They only committed 2 errors in 3 games, and both those errors occurred in the same inning, the first inning of Sunday's game. So in 26 of the 27 innings on defense, they didn't commit an error. I thought D.C. Arendas was spectacular at second base at times. Marcus Moody picked it up when he had to. I thought Jonah Bride over at third base, for a newcomer, for a kid playing his first games as a Gamecock in front of 8,000 people every game, I thought he did well at third base. So, and of course, Alex Estino, for a guy playing first base for the first time in his Gamecock career, I thought did pretty well. So, I think a lot of things to be encouraged about certainly going forward.
Gamecock Baseball Report here on Gamecock Central Radio. Emerson Phillips with Scott Hood. We invite you to download the free phone apps that allow you to listen to Gamecock Central Radio on your phone. You can listen in your car, listen on the go, listen anytime you like, 24/7. We have an iPhone app and an Android app. They're both free, and we're on iTunes. Just search Gamecock Central Radio for all three. So, Scott, we're set for the 2 midweek games here. App State Tuesday at 4, Winthrop Wednesday at 4, and then 3 games with the Penn State Nittany Lions coming in 4 o'clock Friday, 2 o'clock first pitch Saturday, and 1:30 start on Sunday. Baseball season is underway, and a lot of Gamecock fans very happy about that.
Hey, I love college baseball. I think it's an underrated sport nationally. I wish it got more attention from the Northeast and the Midwest media markets. Right now, it's still considered a niche sport in a lot of places. But I think you see college baseball. I think the popularity is beginning to improve. I think the new bats and the new balls have really increased the popularity of the game. They brought the scoring down. I thought for a time college baseball there in the late 90s, early 2000s had a reputation for being just a slimmed down version of softball, of slow pitch softball. So I think the way the pitching and the hitting was, some of the scores you saw, but I think some of these games we're seeing now, I think there's a lot of parity across the board. You see the rise of the Big Ten and some of the other major conferences in baseball, which I think is good for the sport. Even though you want to see the SEC win, you want to see other conferences do well too. Because I think it increases the competition, increases the entertainment value. So I'm looking forward to a great season. I think the Gamecocks are much improved from what we see so far over the weekend, and I think it's going to be a great SEC season as we move forward, beginning in mid-March in that area.
All right, the Gamecocks will have Clemson on March the 4th in Columbia. Right. The 5th will be at Fluor Field in Greenville, and then Sunday, March the 6th at Clemson. And the Gamecocks will open SEC baseball play on March the 18th, a 3-game home set against the Arkansas Razorbacks. Scott, we had great weather this past weekend. It was, unseasonably warm. We do have some rain here in the Midlands in the early part of the week, but we're hoping things are going to clear up for these 2 midweek games and then for Penn State this weekend.
Yeah, the weather forecast is, I guess, for Columbia area on today is a little ominous, but looks like it's going to clear out. So, right now, based on the weather forecast I saw this morning, they should be able to get both games in this week, which would be good. They don't have to make up games and move games around, things of that nature. So it looks like both games should be a go, and I'm looking forward to some great baseball.
Scott, good stuff today, man. We appreciate the update. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's Scott Hood, and I'm Emerson Phillips, and this is Gamecock Central Radio. Plenty more Gamecock baseball to come here on Gamecock Central Radio. Thanks for joining us.